Hey, welcome back to the JMach podcast, where our mission is to make veterans great again through community involvement. And I'm your host, JMach. Thank you for tuning in. Together, we can conquer our mental health one step at a time. I want to thank our sponsors, TRC, Total Roofing and Construction, and Arizona Organix, Arizona's first legal dispensary. Please like and subscribe, and remember that your mental health matters. You're not alone. And enjoy the episode. Can you get a beat to this, Jesse? What comes to mind? Sing us the first three lyrics. All right, now that I put Jesse on the spot, welcome back to the podcast. My guest today is a girl dad, chief fanatic, and future singer-songwriter extraordinaire, Jesse Starke. Welcome to the show, brother. How you been?
I've been good. I just got my first haircut since my grandma died on Thursday. And I got to say, it felt really good.
Okay, well, congratulations. I'm glad that it made you feel better, because last week I got a haircut, beard trim right before the podcast, and I came here and I felt amazing. So I get that feeling, but I'm sure many people are asking, how long was your hair?
It had 2 more inches to it, so yeah.
How long, you going to grow your hair out?
I'll probably keep it right where it was for a long time.
Okay.
Again.
Okay.
But, yeah, because I go to Sport Clips and they document when you come in.
Right.
And they were like, the last time you came in was December 2022. So 2 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's been a long, and only 2 inches grew?
Well,
I don't know how
feel
fast
like,
hair is supposed to grow.
I feel like it was like, a 3 on top. And it grew out to that.
Oh, okay.
And then
So
I
it was
took
much
2 inches
shorter.
off this time. You know what I mean?
I guess that would make sense, right? Like, I'm not thinking outside the box. Thinking you already had your long hair?
Yeah, no.
What made
That's
you want
where
to
it
grow out your
started.
long hair?
My grandma, growing up, she always told me that I should grow it out. And my dad would force me to get it cut. So it was the first time that I'd ever really let it grow out.
Okay. And you like it?
I love it. And my wife loves it, so.
I bet she likes pulling that hair. No, sorry, bro. So tell me about your childhood. What was life like growing up for you?
Life was weird, really weird. When I was a kid, I knew right away that I loved music, and I loved like guitars and all sorts of words. Like I loved books, I loved words, and I loved guitars. And the first guitar I ever got was from this guy. We were mowing his yard like every week, and I came to mow the yard one time, and he goes, "Do you ever like want to learn guitar?" Because he was playing and singing and all this stuff too. And he literally gives me one that day, and I take it home and I show my dad, and he took it and threw it at the wall and broke it. And that was what life was like on a daily.
Sorry you had to go through that. At what age did you figure out that it wasn't you?
To be fully honest, I knew at 15, then just to like not go insane, I put that in the back of my mind, and it wasn't until like age 20 that again I looked at it and realized I wasn't like the one in the wrong for everything that had happened in our lives.
How have you been able to, what did you have to do to work through that? Or have you started working through that?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think I'm still going through it.
So you're aware of it right now?
Yeah, more than ever
Okay.
right now.
And I know you're on a personal level, right? So I know you write songs, and I know your lyrics have meaning to them. Do you feel like that's a great escape for you? Like that's helping you keep your sanity?
Yes. So you know that Sean died in June, and it was the 19th, and my birthday was on the 25th. And it wasn't until July that I started writing again. And I had stopped writing at like age 15, 16. Or no, that's when I started writing, when I was younger. And I stopped writing at like age 20 because Dad took my book and ripped it apart with all the lyrics in it and threw it in a dumpster at a apartment complex that my grandparents lived in. So I quit writing and didn't start writing again until Sean died in June, and I started writing like that July.
Okay.
And I think I've written over 800 songs or like thoughts to what a song could be.
Yeah, you send them to me a couple times a week. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Pretty soon I'm going to have you start signing these for me, all right? So I can say I had them first.
That's true.
It sounds like you had a life full of hardships, struggles, or just unsupportive people around you. Looking back, what would you tell your younger self or anybody listening that could be going through the same thing on how to, I can't say this word, but like compartmentalize things?
Compartmentalize.
Yeah, but like not just do that, but how to like work through it and how to better yourself in that situation. Because I get you're still young and like you can't really, as much as you want to or believe you can, your dad's still a bigger person than you at like 15-ish or below, younger, right? So
yeah, and I had this weird thing too where religion came into that. So it felt like God or whatever being didn't want me to protest my parents, and that was like the groundwork for like how to manipulate us into doing exactly what he wanted.
So your dad would use religion against you?
Yes.
Okay.
And that mindset like played a key factor in me never like trying to punch him or take him on,
Right.
because I thought I would go to hell, like legit, and it kept me from ever even attempting.
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out. Let's edit what I just said right there out, But I'm struggling because I don't want to go too deep because I don't know how much you want to share, right? So I'm trying to think without thinking.
We're
All right. So like, what helped you get away from that? Like, how were you able to escape?
School.
School. But I mean, like, as an adult, like, out of his house, how'd you finally break the hold he had on you even after he was out the house? Like, how'd you get yourself out of the house, right?
So when I met my wife, he would force me to not see her, and I knew that she was right for me. So I made a decision that I was going to stick with her and not care what he thought. And so one day it came to a head, and he was telling me, like, I don't think you should see this girl, but, you do you. But in his way of saying that didn't mean that. What he was really saying is, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to be mad. And then I went to bed that night, and I woke up with a bloodied sheet because he came in and, like, just started wailing on me at, like, 2 a.m. And that's when I was, like, just so fed up with it that I left.
Okay. Dude, that's got to be hard. Like, the man that's supposed to protect you is the one that's abusing you and mistreating you.
Yeah.
How do you use that to fuel yourself to be a better father? To not be like that?
Well, I mean, I take it as he may not have taught me what to do, but he taught me exactly what not to do with my kids. For
It's a
sure.
great way to look at it. Where do you feel like you got your mental toughness from?
My mother.
Do you feel like you always had that? Or is it something that you
It's
had
something I had to build.
and you continue to build on it?
Yes.
What are some tools you use to build on that?
Honestly, my daughters were the starting point. That's when I knew, like, I gotta take it up a notch, and I gotta better myself for them, because they were the greatest thing that had ever happened in my life.
Right. So I'm clearly a girl dad too,
Yeah.
as well. So give me some tricks, some tips.
Well, I mean, it's really hard to be the favorite, I'll say that, I think the biggest thing is just getting down to their level and letting them know that you love them, and everything else kind of plays out how it should.
So what did you do after high school?
So it was like final senior year when we moved here to Arizona all together. And that year, I went to high school, but I finished in Arizona on the computer. So after that, I started working at Jared, the jewelry store. Yeah. And I actually got recruited because I was working at McDonald's across the street, and the guy was like, "You got the attitude. You got to come work for me." And I was like, "Okay, well, give me your card, whatever." And he whips out his card. And it was a great decision because I loved all the people I worked with there, except for that guy. That guy ended up being pretty terrible, to be honest. But other than him, everybody else was wonderful.
That's good.
And it came to a point where I knew that I didn't want to do it anymore because it just got boring and mundane. And basically, I was a jeweler for them. And yeah, so then I came to work with you.
That job we both had.
And that was a great time, I gotta say.
It was an interesting time for sure.
Yeah,
It was fun working with you and some of the other guys for sure.
yeah. A couple of them more so than others, but yeah.
Yeah, dude. Some wild stories too, but let's not share those. Not from us, but
Yeah.
the bosses.
Oh, they were nuts. Especially, what was his name? The
Sports.
fan?
We're not gonna say his name, but yeah.
That dude.
That guy. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, he stole he stole the tractor, used it for a side job, wrecked it, said he was gonna take it to the dump, and brought it to his house.
Yeah. That's amazingly wild.
That was the first job I ever had a manager no call, no show on showing up to work ever again for the company. I didn't know that shit existed. I didn't know that was an option in life.
Yeah. He was
Wild.
not only an odd guy, but an odd manager.
Absolutely. So after high school, how long did you live with your dad for?
2 years. So I think I finished high school. No, it would have been 3 years. I think I finished high school in 2014, and I was 18. So then I was out of high school around 19, and I was living with him for like 3 years after that. So about like age 21, and I met my wife at age 22.
Okay, so you moved
Yeah.
out first
Yes.
before you met her. Did your dad want you to stay, or did he want you out?
Well, we went through a series of, I guess, moments where it changed. Like, one minute he'd want me out, and then the next minute he'd be crying, saying, "Come back," But he'd kick me out like every other weekend. So I finally just left
Yeah. Did you live on your own?
for about like 2 months, is what it was. So I think I'm getting the story a little bit messed up, but I was out for like 2 months. Then I moved in with my wife, and she's my girlfriend at the time. And within the following year, I proposed.
Okay. Yeah, because the way it sounds, I feel like your dad would want you to stay at home so he can continue to control and manipulate you. Because like once you move out, like you're getting all these other influences. You're learning things that he hasn't allowed you to learn or see for yourself yet. And so that's like a real interesting side of life, right? Because I'm going to... So it sounds like he was a narcissist, right? Where like he just wanted to control you, like he was God and you're wrong. And so it must be hard. Was it hard transitioning out of his house and realizing like the way that he was making you live wasn't the way to live or the only way to live? Like it's like you had to question what was true or false.
100%. And so every day was like walking on eggshells with this guy. And when you bring up God like that, it wasn't just a God. Like, we put this guy on a pedestal as if he was a God. Like, he couldn't be questioned. You couldn't, like, do anything against his will. You couldn't have your own thoughts, I couldn't like a movie that he didn't like because that would be, like, wrong.
Betraying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he gave you choices, they were probably always set up to be his choice,
Yes,
regardless.
100%.
But see, you made this choice, so it's your fault. It's your responsibility. But like, you had no choice but to make that choice.
Exactly, and that's where it drove me crazy because I would do something he wanted me to do, and it wasn't good enough, or it wasn't exactly how he wanted it to be done. And then we'd go down this rabbit hole where he'd treat me like crap for 4 days, beat me up and treat me like shit. And then all of a sudden things just go back to how they were before. And I always, in my own mind, believed it was my fault. And I think that was the worst part, is just always believing that you're in the wrong for doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially as a young kid and like a growing teenager to a young adult.
I would think that the main place that I got my influences from outside the house is work. And the majority of what I did outside was like work for him. But also I worked at a Country Mart and a McDonald's and a Burger King, and I got like a slice of life from all those places, the good and the bad. But that's where I really got my own interpretations of life, whereas my sisters were stuck in the house all the time. They never got that. And still can't really fit into society.
Right, because it's like you have to relearn what life really is.
Exactly.
And that, like, you're not the problem. It's not your fault. Like,
and I have to tell myself that almost on a daily basis.
So I try to tell myself I love myself on a daily basis, and to the point I'm trying to get to I will be getting to the point where I believe it, and it won't feel so forced. Have you been able to get to that point for yourself with that you weren't the problem? It's not your fault?
There's times that I reach that peak, and then there's times that I fall off of it.
When you fall off of it, what are some of your unhealthy coping mechanisms that you use?
I get angry, and I take it out on people that don't deserve it. Like my wife.
Okay. And when you catch yourself spiraling, how do you pull yourself out of it? Like, what do you do to ground yourself and realize, like, you're triggered, you're going through something, like, this isn't the person you want to be?
I literally go for a walk or a drive. And usually a walk clears my head, and then I can reevaluate what's going on.
That's good. At least you know tools, right? Like, life's just hard, man. It doesn't matter what our life was or wasn't. We all have our own struggles. And so I like asking these questions because I get to learn new tools and tips and tricks that, like, I may not have known already, and that I get to instill in my life. And then maybe I'm able to pass that on to you or anybody else that's listening. Because we all deserve to be happy and to be in a better place mentally and physically. So I love you, bro. And I'm sorry you had to go through that in your life, and I'm sorry you're still working on it, but I'm very proud of you for still putting your foot forward, for having kids and showing them what a great example of a father is. I'm glad you didn't go down the same path as him.
Thank you. I love you
problem,
too.
Bro. So what are you up to now?
As in?
What are you doing? You working?
Working. I'm still a manager.
Okay.
With Valley Living. It's not everything I want, but it's a good job, though.
Right.
I think the main problem I'm having is I have to do properties that I did with Sean, and I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I don't want to be at those places.
Right. And Sean's your brother-in-law?
Nephew-in-law.
Nephew-in-law. That's no longer here.
Yes.
Tragically. Sorry for your loss. Have you talked to your bosses about, like, hey, look, this is, like, hurting me. Is there a way I can get these off my rotation and get different ones or something?
I have not.
Because you don't need to You don't need to hold that in, Jesse. Like, you need to get that out. You need to, if it's hurting you, then it's going to be hurting your home life because you're holding it all. What has been brought to my attention lately is wow, really the guest.
I had it on vibrate. I
That's
don't know
okay.
what it's doing.
I think I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I can't see if it's recording or not. So all you gotta do is slide down the top. Do you remember how to use an iPhone with your old ass Android having ass?
Of course I remember. It's right on the.
I don't think he remembers.
It's not here.
Dude, just push the button right there. Just tap the screen. Push the screen. Anything? Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay, now slide the bar, the top, down. And then do you see where it says Do Not Disturb, like mode?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yo, this is going to have to be a behind-the-scenes clip for us.
A little behind the scenes.
The focus.
Since we're doing it.
Just put the... Or airplane mode works.
Because the conversation's kind of happening like more in between you guys. That's good.
Yo, take 2. Start over, refresh.
Take 2. Yeah. Run it from the top.
I don't remember exactly what was saying, but I'm going to try to pick it up where I left off. What I have learned, so by you going to work and viewing going to those same job sites that you had to go to with Sean, it's triggering you, whether you feel like you're suppressing it or not. First of all, suppressing it's a horrible idea because eventually you're just going to explode. We're human. We all do. What's been brought to my attention lately that I need to work on is that, like, even though I feel like I'm sucking it up and, like, being a man and, like, holding it in and not, like, making my wife or other people bothered with my worries, my subconscious and my actions are actually affecting them way worse than I realize, and worse than it would be if I would just open up and tell them, like, hey, XYZ happened, this is what I'm going through. Like, we can't keep holding it in anymore, bro. We have to let it out. We have to talk.
I agree with all that.
And it's your life. I'm not telling you what to do, but I would recommend, like, at the very least, talking to, like, a manager, somebody you feel comfortable with at your work, and say, hey, like, is there any way we can get this off, and here's why. Or just whatever you feel comfortable with. Like, don't force yourself to go. You're traumatizing yourself. Or, plan B, go to therapy and talk about it. I mean, both are viable options.
For sure. I don't know why I haven't pulled that trigger yet.
It's scary.
Guess so.
And we have to turn around and face those demons that we're running from. But just know you're not alone. You're not the only one that feels like that. You're not the only one. Like, everybody's going through something. Everybody's holding stuff in. It takes a stronger person to work on it and talk about it. And I know you're a strong guy. You're a great man. And I want you to continue to progress. Bro, I need you to be this future songwriter, singer extraordinaire, all right? You heard it here first on the JMach podcast. What's on your mind? I can sense it.
To be honest, it just feels a little cathartic.
That's a big word for me, so can you explain it?
It feels like letting the air out of a balloon.
Is that
That's a good thing.
okay?
Like
us
the
talking
pent
right
up-
here,
yes,
or the
yes.
thought of going to therapy?
No, the pent up feelings are kind of like being let out.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Yesterday, first of all, went into a straight argument, no communication, just arguments with my wife and I yesterday, and then we got to the point where, like, we were still kind of like elevated in talking to each other, but like in a calm manner, and we were both hearing each other. We were both frustrated. We were both saying the same things, but the other person's doing it, you know. But I could feel. I have this knot in my neck, and I've had it for like 2 weeks now. And I could feel it like releasing, and like the weight on my shoulder was lessening because I was able to have like a constructive conversation with my wife. So now you just used too big of a word for me, so I have to explain
It's
it in the
okay.
way that I understand
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm always here for you, man. I mean, it may take me a couple hours to respond, but like if you need me, call me 6
I
times.
feel like you respond better than me. I don't know how true that is, but
I feel like I leave you on unread for a minute, but like sometimes, dude, lately I just have not been. This is everybody on my phone, but like my phone's pretty dead most of the time, anyways. But like I just been going through these modes, these zones, these stages of like I just don't want to talk, and it doesn't have to do with the person or what we're talking about. It's just like I just don't. I don't know if I'm just overstimulated, and like I just want to be able to be doing nothing of
Yeah.
my choice. But
get
I know
that.
that's not. I know that's not good. That's me isolating myself. So I need to work on that and pull myself out of that, which I'd say these past 2 weeks have been working for me. And like coming here and talking, it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what's your day to day like?
You know, I wake up, put a dip in, start the day. No, I'm just kidding. But I do wake up, and then
Bullshit. Oh well, I mean you do wake up, but that's good.
the first thing I do every day is get my daughter ready for school, and then take her to school.
Dude, that's such a great feeling. It's like a goal unlocked, but it's also sad for me.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yes.
Yeah. So like when you drop them off and once you drop them off, you're not supposed to turn around and look back at them. That's hard, dude.
Dude, I don't think I have done the opposite once. So I
you
always
haven't
turn
looked-
around and
You always look back. Yeah. So I have realized that I just let my daughter. So lately, when I've been dropping her off at school, she doesn't want to go anymore,
Yeah.
or she's just like really clingy. But I fucking love it. I hate it, but I love that she's clingy. It's like, oh, she fucking loved me.
Yeah.
But like, come on now, let's like go to school. I know you love being here. I know you love making friends. Pulls on your heartstrings.
Yeah. My kid absolutely loves school, and like she is a spitting image of me in every facet of life. Like,
She is.
Like when I was a kid, she's exactly how I was at like 4 years old.
That's
Like
cool.
it's amazing to see, and my wife is always like making jokes of it, but getting kind of jealous, you know.
Yeah.
And then the youngest one looks more like her, or so is what people say. So I guess we got one of one, you know.
Yeah, for us, I think it's, for my wife and myself, I think it's different. I think our firstborn is my wife's image,
Yeah.
and the second one is me. Like, my first one is just always singing, dancing, jumping, moving. Not that I didn't always jump and move around, right? But, like, her attitude, her little personality, her sass is everything my wife ever told me that she was.
Yeah.
And then my youngest, she's just so cool, calm, and collective, like how I want to say I am, you know, like level-headed-ish, working on the fullness. But yeah, dude. I read something the other day, and it's so true, but it's like the best part about raising a kid is watching them grow up. The worst part about raising a kid is watching them grow up.
Yeah. I get that.
Because
It's
like
hard.
At a certain point, I was like, I can't wait for you to grow up. I can't wait for you to talk. I can't wait for you to do this. And now that she's doing it, and I'm recognizing, like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to hold you for much longer.
Yeah.
Like,
I
like,
hate that.
and lately I've been like trying to like, oh, you want to fall asleep while I hold you? Like, okay, I don't care that you're about to be 4. I'll do that. Like,
Mine gets a little jealous when the baby is like on my shoulder, and she's like, will you hold me too? And I have to hold both of them.
do you feel like your oldest always expresses that, or do you feel like she throws temper tantrums, or like? So I've been recognizing that I can tell when my older daughter is getting jealous or envious because she starts being louder, not listening, being aggressive, and that. So it may take me a minute, but like once I recognize it, I'll be like, oh, baby, you need some love? Are you feeling lonely? Like, what do you need from me? And then I wouldn't, obviously I still have to hold the baby and take care of her,
Yeah.
but I would show her more love and affection. And Man, that's a hard rope to walk.
Mine is totally opposite in that regard. So my daughter will just go to her room and shut the door, and I just know, like, she needs me.
Okay.
And she's just so easy that it's ridiculous. And then the new one is like, you got to hold me at every minute of the day, you know. But the other one is just like, she could literally be in her room playing and doing nothing and be excited about it for 3 hours. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's me. It was me as a kid.
That's cool. Well, first I want to say, I think we owe ourselves like a little pat on the back. Congratulations, like that we are able to be aware of our children's needs and like recognize that like just because of their acting out doesn't, or running to their room doesn't mean anything other than like, hey, they just need some more attention and love, because like they went from like technically the only child to now they got to share mommy and daddy. So I don't feel like that was always in our genetics to do that. So I'm proud of us for that. And then the way my mental health memory has worked, I forgot step 2. So yeah. How old's your youngest now? Like 6-ish months?
Let me do the math here. I think that's close. Either 8 or 9.
All right.
Yeah, I feel bad, but it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, so my youngest was born in April, bro. She's about to be a year.
Okay.
And like my wife's been telling me for a couple months now, like, hey, we gotta start planning this, we gotta start doing it. I'm like, oh, we got time. And now I'm like, oh my God, it's like clicking. Dude, my youngest and my last is about to be a year old. Like, that's so exciting and sad.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But it's so cool. Like watching the kids grow up and seeing them develop their own personality and that, like, it's amazing.
Mine was born in August 12th, and my wife's birthday is August 10th, and then our anniversary is October 13th. So it's like all 10, 12, 13.
That's funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Man, so what do you instill in your daughter that was never instilled in you as a child?
There's only one answer for that, and that's like her own thoughts, her own thinking, her independence.
How do you allow her to have that when you are overstimulated or you're frustrated and you just want her to do what you need her to do now? But I also have to remember that, like, she is her own person. She is her own child. So how do you control yourself to...
I'll walk away and take a seat, and I'll think exactly about what you're saying, and I'll go back to her, and I'll get down on her level, and I'll look her in the eye and say, I love you, but we have to do this now, or we're going to be late and we can't do it, and we're going to miss out. And
Okay.
she either does one of two things, where either she's tired and she'll just get mad again, or she literally runs to put her shoes on and heads out the door.
Yeah. Dude, I feel bad that I keep saying, like, I get overstimulated or I get overwhelmed in that, because, like, my daughter, my kids, all of them, they're great kids, right?
Yeah.
But they're their own person and I'm my own person. So, like, that's the struggle, right? Like, they want to do their own thing, but, like, our minds are like, hey, we need to do X, Y, and Z, and they're trying to do A, B, C.
Yeah.
So it gets frustrating, but I'm not alone in that thought. I'm sure a lot of parents can feel that way and they can relate to that. But being aware of it is a struggle, because, like, I try to balance out, like, okay, like, it's just life, it's gonna happen. Like, you're not perfect and that's okay. But I try to sing, I make up random songs. No singer, no songwriter, no nothing. But I just try to, like, make up random songs for the girls, and I'll sing them to them at night, and, like, I'll sing, but they're always, like, positive things. So I'll tell them, like, I'm strong, I love myself, I'm powerful. Or right now, my 3-year-old, she's on this kick that, like, boys drool, girls rule. And, like, part of me wants to fight that at first, but I'm like, not fight it, but, like, joke around back, like, no, dude, boys. But I've started to tell her, like, you realize that you can do anything a boy can do, if not more. Like, you can do anything and everything you set your mind to. And that's what I'm trying to instill in them, is like that positivity and that self-belief. And then when my daughter falls down, instead of like rushing over and showing a reaction, I ask her, like, what do you do when you fall down? And she's like, get back up. And she gets back up and starts doing whatever she was doing, whether riding the bike, running, or whatever. That's also how I gauge how much I need to react. Like, if she's not responding, we're in trouble, right? But like, yeah. It's
Well, that's
great.
awesome. You saying that makes me think, though, that I need to do a better job of like self-talk in front of my kids, for sure. Like, I'll randomly say, like, man, I'm stupid for doing something that wasn't even stupid. It's just random and out of my hands. Like, I couldn't control. Yet somehow I feel like I'm stupid for doing it.
Dude, you're so right, and that's not even what I was saying I was doing.
Yeah.
I was saying I was singing the songs to her about her, like she's singing them, because
Yeah.
she'll repeat them with me. But you're 100% right. Like, not only do I need to stop that negative self-talk for myself, but like, you just brought more awareness that, like, if I'm saying it out loud, she's going to think that's okay to talk to herself that way, because that's how I've accepted to talk to myself, which is not okay. And it's something I need to work on, but I got a lot to work on, and I am getting there. Just, I got to remember that I'm not perfect, and
Yeah.
that things take time.
They don't happen overnight.
Right. So are you and your wife done at 2 kids? You're going to have a third one?
Oh, I'd like to
Or do you
keep
gotta
going
tell me
until we get a
something?
boy, you know?
Okay. Is there a number that you're willing to, like, all right,
7.
I had that in my mind for some reason. Is
No,
there?
I'm kidding. I don't think I want 7. I think the max is 4. So if I have a 4th and they're all girls, I'll be good with that.
What if you have a third? Like, you still willing to risk that 4th one? Not
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's a risk, right? Not that it's a risk, because like, kids are great and beautiful regardless. As long as it's a healthy baby, that's all that matters. But like, that's a lot of estrogen.
Yeah. You make a good point there. I already feel, outnumbered by
Yeah.
the amount of women in my house.
For sure.
Yeah.
I
And
feel that.
like sometimes I just hide, because they're always coming to get me.
Oh, you don't. So you can't relate yet because your oldest is your personality. But
Yeah.
wait, if your youngest takes on your wife,
Oh,
just
gosh.
wait. Just wait. And I'm sure my wife will say the same exact thing about our youngest that takes on my personality, right? Just wait for it. Like, just watch. You'll see. But it's a good time, bro. I also recognize, like, something about me is that I've just been mentally tired, so I just feel exhausted all the time, where I try to be present with the girls, but Eva just like, hey, Dad, can we do this? Let's go down the slide. Let's go here. Let's do that. And I'm like, let's just sit still. But like, that's not good for either of us, especially her. So I'm trying to force myself when she asks me to do something to actually do it. My wife said something really minor to me, but it really sunk in. Eva wanted to go outside and knock on our neighbor's door, but when we went out there, I noticed that their car was gone, so I knew they weren't home. So I said, we're not going to go knock on the door. She threw a temper tantrum. She threw a little fit, and she was upset. Eventually got her inside, and my wife's like, what happened? And I told her, like, we were going to go knock on the door, the car's gone, so we didn't even walk over there. And she's like, I understand that, but it's not the point. The point is to follow through with your words and and do it with your actions, right? And like, that was enough to click on, like, okay, so like, she's not upset that they weren't home. She's upset that I told her we could do something and we didn't. And that minor thing made me feel really bad. Like, I feel like I let my daughter down, and now I just gave her all this trauma, right? But hopefully it was just one little thing that off her shoulder, right? Like, it
Yeah.
didn't stick with her.
It's another good point.
Yes,
I feel
sir.
like I do that often. I need to work on that.
Not following through.
Exactly like that story.
Okay.
Just like, oh, well, we were going to go here, but they're closed. Can't do anything about that. But then I promise we're going to go the next day and forget about it.
Yeah.
And then she'll bring it up the next week. And I'm like, how do you remember that?
Dude.
But
These kids got the best memory.
yeah, it's tough.
When it works for them, right? When you tell them we're gonna do something, like I told my daughter last night we were gonna make pizzas for dinner.
Yeah.
But she ended up having something to eat with mom, and then they went to bed early. So today she woke up, she's like, "What about that pizza, Dad?" I was like, "All right, we'll make it later." She's like, "No, today." And I was like, "Yeah, today." She's like, "Now." She didn't get that aggressive, but yeah. So I
That's
get to
funny.
go home and make pizza a little bit later. That's on my schedule. So we can start wrapping this up. But first, what about my homie, man?
Oh, dude,
Are you a true Swiftie or what?
I meant to bring. I just got a knitted Mahomes. My niece made it for me. It's like a whole like big Mahomes like knitted, I guess, doll is what you call it, made out of yarn, and he's
Okay.
fucking awesome.
But okay, I thought you were gonna. I was waiting for you to tell me if it was like a jersey or something.
No,
but
no,
it's a doll.
Yeah, it's a
That's
doll
cool.
of him.
Yeah,
And
I'm
it's
surprised you don't
wicked.
have him with you everywhere, man.
I know. I mean, he's gonna become part of me. I can feel it.
Patrick, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I don't know. I think it's weird because I grew up with her. You know, like listening to her music. Not all of it.
Okay, so
but
now we're on Taylor Swift.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's weird that she's like a part of the fandom now, I guess.
Do you think is it true she saved football?
I don't think there was anything to save. I think they were fine without her, you know.
Yeah. Dude, what a crazy. I don't even know, dude. I don't understand why it's such a big deal. She's just. I understand who she is, but like,
Yeah.
let's be honest, she's just another person, right? Like, who cares if they show her on the screen? They show random people on the screen all the time. But, what's your put?
I think they put her on there for 3 times and people go nuts because they're tired of seeing her. But like, if you dig into it, she's asking people to stop pointing
Okay.
the camera at her.
Okay.
It's not really her fault, but I get why people are annoyed.
Right.
I guess. And they hate the Chiefs too. I mean, let's be honest.
Speaking of that, are they going to three-peat?
They will.
For a fact.
I think for a fact because they have good management and they know how to get players in
Did
the
you,
draft.
have you put your bet in Vegas yet for a three-peat?
No, but I did win money on this one that I'm going to put on the bet for next year.
Do you think it's better to put that bet now?
Yes.
So what are you waiting for?
I don't know. I
Do you really
I
believe?
just got so like, you know, caught
Do you
up in the
truly
moment.
believe in them?
Oh, I do. Yeah, 100%. I think they'll three-peat.
Okay. Has there been another team that's three-peated
No,
in any sport?
I don't know about any. I thought that Michael Jordan did.
I was going to
Am
say the
wrong?
Bulls.
I thought he did.
I don't want to fail in my knowledge right now.
I
so-
feel like he did. He had to have. I mean, it's in my head. It had to have happened.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking did it too. But I wasn't sure if it was 3 back-to-back. What's
Only
up?
the Lakers.
Okay.
Dang.
In 20, 21, 20, or 20. Damn, dude, I can't talk. Yeah. That's so long ago, I don't even remember how to say 2000, 2001, 2002. Damn. All right, Jesse. Well, do you have any saved rounds, brother? Anything you want to add to the podcast? Let people know. An inspirational message.
I guess the only thing I can say is follow your heart and don't let other people tell you who you are.
Awesome. I love that. And now, for your solo.
No.
All right, I'm just playing, bro. Thanks for coming on, brother.